Hey, everybody, and welcome to Large Impact Podcast series, where we invite people who are making a large impact in their lives and the lives of other people. We want to make you aware of them and what they're doing and how they can help you, perhaps. So today, I have the pleasure of having Jules Frankel and Zach Garcia from SKG Financial with us. They came to me through Tasha Rollins, who we all know as rock star autism mama. And she had an opportunity to meet with Jules, and he talked to her about some products or a way to help, I guess, plan for and more financially for when you're not around anymore or for when your child with autism might need some support. So, first of all, thank you, gentlemen, both for being here. I really appreciate it. And can one of you tell me just a little bit about SKG Financial?
Sure. So I'm Zach Garcia, COO, and basically what we do. I mean, we can always give you the one-liner, right? We help protect life and legacy, and we do that by leveraging insurance-backed products and investment-backed products to make sure people have a better financial plan. Um, it's a it sounds it sounds fancy when you put it that way, but in reality, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. Basically, what we do is we sit down with each individual person, and we talk to them. SKG Financial, what we do is we figure out what your needs are and how we can fill those needs, and if we can't, point you in the right direction to someone who can. Our staple is helping people, like I said, protect life and legacy, and we're not always the solution to do that. And we understand that,
How
first
long?
and foremost.
I'm sorry, so when you're speaking with somebody,
Yeah.
and so it's almost like speed dating, I guess, like how how long does it take you to determine if there's a fit?
Yeah, great question. So, really, our conversations typically last an hour to an hour and a half. But I can figure out, I've been in this industry for just over 6 years. I can figure out if there's a fit for what we have and what the need is within the first 15 minutes. And even if it is a 15-minute find of we're not the right fit or we don't have the right solution for what they need, but this person is, we still typically have a pretty long conversation just because we're people, and we're people. We're in the business of people. You can't hate people and be in the people business. It doesn't make sense.
It's
So,
true. So, like one thing that I know, I don't know how many people know it, maybe everybody who knows Jules knows it, is that Jules, you also are or were a hairstylist, hairdresser, and have or had a very successful business. So like talk about people, right? And you've got now, wow, what a great place to be. They're like a captive audience. You got scissors near their ears. You're gonna listen to me. You're
Yeah,
gonna
I,
listen to
I,
me. I
I,
got the product for you.
that's correct. I do talk to a lot of people that are in the chair because I'm excited about what we do and what we do for people. I mean, we serve people, and although I've been a hairstylist and a colorist for 40 years, the transition between that and SKG, okay, was a personal one for me. One, because my son, Maxwell, has autism. Okay. And I wanted to be able to do something a little bit different after 40 years here into something that I could transition to there. And I came to the partners, both Zach and Catherine, with an idea. What can we do, okay, that can impact those parents of children of autism? What would happen if we can put together something like that? What would it do to people, okay, like myself or any other parent who has children of autism who are really more focused on surviving daily, okay, with their child and everything that comes from it, right? What would happen if we come up with a solution that would be able to let them breathe, knowing that when they're gone, okay, being what we do, okay, that we'll be able to help that and let them breathe, okay? And so we sat down and took this very seriously. And we came up with some really great solutions. And I know Zach's going to talk about that today. But this is how the program that we're doing, if you would call it that, okay, came to life, thus meeting Tasha, thus meeting you, and growing from there.
So, when you're talking about that and the products and everything, are you, or is SKG financial planners? And I know that Zach's going to delve into a little bit more about what you guys do, but it sounds like so you've come up with this, like, I'll just call it a bevy of products or solutions for families with autism based on Jules, your experience, and then, going out to other, talking to me and Tasha, because yes, we're up in the middle of the night with the cold sweats, what's going to happen? How are they going to survive? How am I going to pay my mortgage today, much less, scraping together some shekels towards the future.
Yeah.
You know, I, it's so necessary and so needed. Have you like labeled this program anything, or is it more based on, I guess, the individual family needs, and then you're just like, we've got something, we're pretty sure we can help you, let's talk, kind of type
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah. No, you hit the nail on the head. So, I- I'm a licensed financial advisor. We do financial planning. The portion that we have for the autistic community and our efforts to bridge that gap, if you will. We've talked about different names and that we've thrown out here, from legacy protection, to just different things that just didn't really stick. We're still trying to name it properly. So, if you or anybody, has a name, you think,
Do we
you
get free 1 year if you come up with a name? We'll have a
that's
big
right. That's right. But I mean, but what we do, like you said, you made a great point just now. Not only, what's going to happen when I'm not here, but how do I pay my mortgage now? Right. And basically here's the nitty gritty of what we do. Real simple. We're an all lines insurance brokerage that has a financial planning side. Okay. And a financial advisement side. What we do is we shop your basic insurance needs, right? Health insurance to make sure that your child or whoever it is that's diagnosed with autism has the proper coverage that they need, right? As well as the rest of the family. Got to keep mama and daddy healthy that are taking care of the kids. One. Two, any home, auto, stuff like that, whatever we can do to help you save money and keep good coverage and good protection. We then take that money that we save you. So say, for example, we are usually saving people anywhere on average from $2,000 to $3,000 a year, right? Which is really helpful for a lot of people, right? If I could say, hey, let me put $2 to $3 grand back in your pocket just by shopping products, right? And you say, yeah, that sounds like a good idea to me. And we continuously reshop the products, and you deal with us directly. You deal with SKG Financial directly. You don't have to worry about dealing with the big carriers. We take care of that for you. But basically what we do is we say, hey, now we have $2,000 to take care of some stuff, right? Now we move over to the financial planning side, right? Where are we at? What type of debts do we need to consolidate and pay down and get rid of? Where do we need to, reallocate these funds to first and foremost? Once we get to a point to where you can say, hey, I am now at a financial position to where, man, everything feels okay, right? Like Jules said, there's some breathing room, right? Now we can look at saying, all right, let's plan for the future. We've created breathing room for now, because there's no future if you can't breathe now, right? That's just what that comes down to. So we've created the breathing room. We've shown you how to create the breathing room, and now we're going to show you how to plan for the future to make sure that whatever products, whatever vehicle that or solution that we help you attain and manage and grow, really it goes straight to that child and those child's needs, by way of our other partnerships with different legal services to help different things get set up, right? From estate plannings to wills and last testaments, things like that, to where we can skip things like probate. We can skip things that hold up the benefits that are being, distributed. And that's the other good thing about, having a lot of insurance-backed products that we use for this program, because beneficiaries, benefits from a life insurance backed or insurance backed product, they don't go to probate. They go straight to the beneficiary, right? There's no hold up time. It's the longest wait time that we've seen for anything that has to do with a insurance backed payout has been about 7 days, and that was because of a change of address. It took them 7 whole days to find the beneficiary. So I mean, it's that's in a nutshell what we do. It's a process,
No,
right?
that that makes sense, right? It totally makes sense. And my husband is in a special needs and elder law attorney here in
There you go.
Surfside, just so you know. So like it's amazing how like just one little tweak or
Right.
will change the game. So anyway, good deal. So I was thinking, I'm an autism parent, and have reached out and considered financial planning and kind of everything you're talking about. But, the thing that is, I guess, daunting and just kind of like, that's when I roll over and I'm just like, sorry, I can't do it, is, the preparation and the things, right? Because I'm like, here, fill out this 50-page packet. And, I'm like, are there ways, have you come up with a way to maybe provide it maybe a little bit more spoon feeding, a little bit more in like little baby manageable chunks? Okay, so like this is great, and this month and these
Right.
4 weeks we need this one thing from you, like kind of, because it just seems like everything for my son's high functioning, like just seems like everything that requires any kind of time or brain space or organization or digging through stuff, and it gets pushed way back down, even though I'm talking about waking up in the middle of the night with cold sweats and wondering about how he's going to care for himself when I'm gone and how I'm going to pay the mortgage. So it's like,
Right.
these are
Right.
worries, but it's like one more thing.
Right. No. And see, that's the thing is so I'm one thing that you'll learn about me. I am a tech person. I love technology. I love softwares. I love AI. I love messing with it. I program it. I built the system that we have internally from the ground up. So not only our basic sales platforms that we use and strategies that we use and technology that we use, but what we use for the financial planning side, really because it makes it, like you said, simple, right? And spoon feeding. Not everything needs to be life is unpredictable, right? And so I don't need, from my position, from what I've seen, I don't need you to give me these updates constantly, right? Here's this, and here's this, and here's this. But what I would prefer is, Zach, there's a huge change, right? I would take no news as good news, if that makes sense, and then flip it from that to, Zach, we've had this change, this has happened, now this expense is here. Wonderful. Thank you for telling me. I'm so sorry this new something has happened, but let's roll with the punches and not add punches to roll to. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to create in this system this program, we don't want to create more hurdles, right? Another thing on the checklist. No, we want you to give us the information that we ask for up front. That's why we say, the first meeting is usually an hour to an hour and a half, because we get to talking, because there's questions, there's information gathering, there's needs analysis, there's all this stuff that we do that most people do in 2 to 3 to 4 different meetings that we try to do in the first one, because time. I mean, really, no other reason besides time, right? I mean, listen, I don't have any autistic children myself, but I have a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 7-month-old. Oh yeah. So we have a busy household, and I'm here to tell you, when I understand time management, it's all about time management. So, and to say an hour and a half is pushing it, right? If I can get,
Yeah, right.
if I can get my 3 kids to do anything for an hour and a half straight, I need to patent that.
Yeah,
Dadgummit. That's what
honestly,
it comes down to.
I'd
But
say, right at the same time.
exactly. But but yeah, no, it's a really simple process that, I mean, again, for example, Tasha Rollins, right? She was actually our first client, if you will, for this process. And, she's extremely busy,
Oh my
she
God. Like,
she doesn't
honestly.
she doesn't stop. But I tell you what, we make time to do communication through text and email, because phone calls aren't always the way to go. And with text and email, we have gotten her and her husband 2 different investment opportunities to plan for the future, as well as changing over all of her current insurances to much more affordable plans that have saved them. I think theirs was like $3,200 a year. So you're talking about freeing up 3,000 some odd dollars in a year for a family that, has multiple autistic children, with a mom that is a business owner and a dad that works full time. I mean, you've just, that in and of itself is breathing room. Now we've taken very small portions of this savings into higher yield accounts that build that have a higher return much faster, and one for each of them that all go straight to this trust that's already set up. I mean, and they're done. For lack of a better term, they're done for now. At this point, and we call it a vehicle because we fueled the vehicle already, right? Now it's time to do what? To drive it, to let it run. So when it gets to the next point and we need to go to the next point of the overall financial plan, which I think for them was 6 years down the road. Of course, they'll hear from us in that 6 year period, but we got to let this thing move for 6 years before we get to the next stage, which will be a shorter stage and then a shorter stage. And then at that point, it's time to retire. And then at that point, it's, hey, when your number is called and the good Lord says, come home, it's done.
Hopefully
It's
it'll be
ready.
down the road, not tomorrow.
Exactly.
This is a relationship thing. We not only do we serve, but we have a relationship with everybody after we do this. I mean, it's our responsibility to stay in touch, find out. Hey, Zach is synonymous with calling. Hey, everything all right? What's going on? Anything new? Just checking in. Okay. Because we know the goal. We know the file, we know the goal, what's going on. So it is something that is a continual relationship. As far as the streamline, he got it down to a science. Like again with Tasha, very, very busy, right? We were able to do all of it with minimal amount of effort.
So the thing that Zach just said not too long ago was this first part is 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, I don't know, like a light bulb went off for me where, first of all, you were upfront, you're not promising who knows what, not that people do it all the time, but like, this is an education for me where you're like, okay, well, this first step, y'all, Becky, Mike, Team Large, you're in it for 5 to 8 years or whatever. And you'll be like, oh, and for some reason, I mean, that's like kind of, that gives me comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Because and you've set my expectations, and so I'm not thinking I'm gonna hit it with the bull market or whatever in the next 6 months or whatever. You're like, this is a process and it all takes time, and we're still gonna be in communication and everything, but like, you really need to, now that you've put this part to rest, you can rest for 6 years. You just do your thing. If anything major changes, we'll be back together. And I'm like, I don't know, but something about that gave me comfort.
It gave you a little bit of breath.
And like, like I felt like, like, because you have to have trust, right? That's what we're all doing. I peddle trust. Everybody trust me. I plan quiet parties for a living, and you can come play and enjoy yourselves, right? As an autistic family. But what you're doing is so important. And like you said, it's long term, especially when it comes to investment. So that
it has to be. It has to be. I mean, just like anything else, if you think about it, you know, the analogy that I like to use when I talk to clients, you know, in my career has always been the farming analogy, right? There's a time to plant and there's a time to harvest, but both are subject to time. And without time, you won't have that, right? So, and the easiest part is the waiting period, but it's also the hardest part because everyone wants it right here, right now. But when you tell some, because, but when you tell, if you were to tell, that's the difference between someone who farms pine trees, right, and has an entire grove versus someone who does, like, say, you know, the basic stuff you see down here in the South, right? We got tomatoes, we got carrots, we got all, right? You see all this stuff. You know, you're talking months over here. I'm not talking months, right? I'm talking years. I'm talking let that thing grow, because if I put an acorn in the ground and uproot it in 2 years, I'm not going to have a very big tree. But if I uproot it in 10 to 15 years and put it in better soil that can now cause it to grow faster and even bigger, why not? You know, with there's nothing wrong with doing that, but you have to get to the 10-15 year mark first in this analogy, right? For Tasha, it's 6 years. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm fairly certain it was 6 years. We've had so many different cases here recently. I could be, it could be mistaken. It could be 7, it could be 5. But I know it's no less than 5 because just the amount of time that it takes. And that's when you can sit back and take care of everything else that you're taking care of, because this is running on autopilot in the background. I'm not worried about anything else, right? Now, again, if catastrophe happens or God forbid something else comes up that needs to be addressed, let's address it, right? Let's talk. Let's see what we can do about, you know, maybe uprooting something early because there is a true need, not a want, a true urgent need. That's completely different. But unless that happens, we don't touch this over here. We're letting this thing grow, and we need this entire thing to grow because it's not for you. It's not, that's the thing. You're not letting it grow for yourself. You're letting it grow for somebody else. And so really, if you think about it in that portion, I mean, I don't want people touching my stuff. Right? I mean,
My kid's going mitts off.
Right. You know, unless it's absolutely necessary. So let it grow for them. Let it move for them. Let it do what it's going to do for them. Because when the time comes, they're going to get what they need out of it. And that's the whole point.
So I think my failed attempts at reaching out to financial people for help, you know, and direction, support or whatever, or plan. Mm-hmm. It's kind of every approach to me has been about, you know, kind of counting dollars as if they're calories, like a financial diet. Mm-hmm. And I don't do very well with diets, you can tell, but it's okay. Mm-hmm. I appreciate this. It's almost, for me, like a lob of a financial plan. Okay, like we're going to look at your, you know, we're going to look at all this over here, insurances and things, and we're going to, you know, shop those and save you some money. And then we're just going to take that, because you're never going to miss it. You've been spending it anyway. And we're going to put it over here. And then that's kind of like, okay, all right, baby steps towards better financial management. And then my guess is that people, someone like me or Tasha, might get excited, you know, by watching the gains, and maybe, you know, like we might be able to carve out a little bit more, or do this or that. You know, it's not like, okay, well, you have to review your I've actually had somebody say this. You have to review your water bill because that's awfully high. And you have to figure out how you're going to shave off. My water bill is $65 a month. You've got to figure out how to shave off money. And I was like, well, it's been with the 4 of us, 2 teenage boys who are in the shower for forever, dear Lord. Anyway, you know, $65 for like the last 12 years. Like that's not changing, right? You know, like it just seems like a really great approach, at least for somebody like me. And I'm I don't know if I'm talking for every
Yeah.
or some autism families.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen that, right? Like I've seen that in my career where advisors or planners say, "Hey, you have these bills cut in here." Here's my thing. That's not a bad approach if there are true surpluses that are not needed, right? If it's a family of two and they have $100 a month water bill, I'm going to ask some questions, right? $200 a month on a power bill, I'm going to ask some questions. If it's just you two in a small home or a small apartment or whatever the case may be. But if it's a family, right? Families are about experience and about growth and about development, especially a family with an autistic or special needs individual, right? And to say, listen, I want you to go down from 65 to 60 because this $5 is going to make the difference. Well, $5 over 12 months is $60. So that'll pay not even one water bill. So what are you doing? That's the way I look at it, right? So those are things that can you change? Yes. Will it make changes in your life? No. What can you change? Right? Well, I can change it's very simple, how much I pay for certain things. In other words, the things I'm using to protect that I have to have anyway. You have a mortgage, you have to have homeowners insurance. Do you drive a car? You have to have auto insurance. Those two things are have-tos. Have-tos required by law. You are fined if you do not have these two things. So right off the bat, we got to get these low, right? Because these aren't going away. Your water bill can go away if you stop using the water, but right, there you go. But you know what I mean? You can live off the grid if you want and do all that stuff. Those can go away. So would your insurance bills. But at the same time, most people aren't going to do that. So those two have to happen, right? Health insurance is a have to, right? It's a must. It's not a finable must. In other words, you're not going to get, charged for not having it.
But
But
you
it's a
could get
must.
spanked if you don't have it.
Exactly. You better have something in there to be able to pay for it if you don't have it. And that's why we shop that too. Not only to make sure you're getting things covered and make sure it's working like it should. Excuse me.
God bless.
Thank you. But for the majority of people, they don't know, or they just don't look at the option, a $0 health deductible plan, right? Why do you pay the deductible for a health insurance if you pay a premium every month? You shouldn't have to. And most people don't know that's even an option. But that's something that we open the door to be able to say, hey, here's this option. If you're gonna if this level of coverage and this amount that you're paying is a necessity, and you can't afford anything else because of your situation, right? Whether it's medical issues or therapies or whatever needs to happen that needs to be covered, that would make more sense to have that covered than come out of pocket and have a higher premium but no deductible. Let's do it. The best financial sense all the way around doesn't always equivalent to dollars, like you said, right? And what's funny that you actually make that analogy. So I come from the fitness industry. My degree is in kinesiology, which is hilarious because I got out of that industry to help people on the financial side because I found that people who are financially stressed have the most physical stress, which means you're the most physically unhealthy. So it was funny how one led to the other. But, weight loss is as simple as calories in versus calories out when you break it down that low. So is money management, right? Don't spend more than you make. But how do you get there?
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? And that's where what we do at SKG is different.
Well, it's like control, right? It's like, I know, I'm approaching 60. I know what I'm supposed, I know enough Noom and everything else, the other 50 million things I've tried. I know what needs to be done or not done, but it's all about control. And so at points where I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, self-care, eating better, blah, 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 blah. I feel like a badass, and then like I can go and, I say control is sexy, right? But then control a lot of times equals no. And I don't like people with autism. I don't like to be told no. You
That's
can't
right.
do that. So, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like all this, and it's all chatter in, I'm sure everybody's mind. I think the thing that I appreciate about, and I guess you or other financial advisors or whatever, advisors, is that finances it's all black and white, right? But we get to tie so much emotion to it, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm a horrible failure because I can't control my budget, whether it's calories or dollars. You know what I mean? Like, and there's all these, you know, the things, the messages that you've heard from your parents and the arguments they used to have, and that, my mom used to go shopping and hide things that she didn't want to, don't tell daddy. And I find myself doing that, and I'm like, I sneak in with a bag of shoes, and my
Right.
husband's like, what's that, new shoes? And I'm like, I get all like, oh, it's just funny how that stuff trickles down. But
Mhm.
I love the fact that you were talking about kinesiology and the body, because I felt like when I was in, top physical form, I felt like if I was flexible physically, I would be flexible emotionally and psychologically.
Right.
And the more that you get into that and you get uptight, everything becomes more challenging or overwhelming, or like that. So I really like your approach and the fact that you have that extra knowledge, because how many people well, I mean, besides Jules, she's been doing hair for 40 years, so way to hang in there. And here you are in your next best self. And how was Zach sitting in your chair one day and you're having this conversation? Like, how did
Oh,
this happen?
oh, that's a story unto itself for another time. But yeah, we that was a nice encounter how we wound up. We were introduced by another fellow person, which led into so many other different things. And before we knew it, we just looked at each other and along with Catherine, we decided, you know what, let's go out there and make a difference.
Yep.
And,
It was different. It was funny how we
I
came,
know.
how we actually, we got together, um, and yeah, no, I had left. I can give you the synopsis. I left the fitness industry, right? Um, because the company I was working for moved to Colorado. We're in South Carolina. I'm not moving to Colorado. The hell with that. Um, and I said, okay, so I've got to figure out a way to make money, and that's not going back to school, because nowhere around here where I'm at is going to pay me close to what I was making.
Mhm.
Got in the insurance space, as well as the real estate space at the exact same time. Overall financial understanding, right? At the exact same time. I figured, all right, I'm going to give a year and efforts to these two things and see whatever hits first. And real estate was not for me. So I stuck with the insurance side. Got an all lines insurance license, right? Life, health, home, and auto.
That's no
Um, got into the the financial advisement state. I was working at this time for um, a broker, for a real estate broker, and actually opened up a small insurance division inside his brokerage. Great guy, wonderful friend of mine, Michael Smith, with Bluefield Realty. He, had a great stint in my career. And then at that point, I thought, you know what, I want to do something for myself, because he started his brokerage from scratch. And I was like, I was really inspired by that, and I wanted to, so I did my own thing. And I was probably on my own for maybe 2 to 3 months. And the guy that introduced us, through a Facebook ad of all things, I got on the phone with him. And then the guy says, you know what, let me actually talk to you or get you connected with this guy in Anderson, South Carolina, about 45 minutes from you, because I live in Easley. And, we're starting up a team there. And I said, all right, let's do this. Got on the phone with Jules, and I said, you know what, I want to come out there and meet you. I believe in, shaking hands, man to man. And Jules said, that's awesome to hear that, because I do too. So I came out there, met at his salon. We had coffee, wonderful conversation. Next week, I came back to meet him and the rest of the team that they were trying to put together. And then, just through some circumstances and events, me and him and Catherine came together and we said, you know what? It's time to not put together a team, but to create an agency.
Yeah.
A true
agency,
a brick and mortar, which is where we're here in Powdersville, where we're doing this, this wonderful interview with you from, is in our agency, that we're here. And I mean, it's just been, the growth and the expansion has been nothing short of a blessing. And then this whole thing with Tasha came through, and we were like, man, this is a complete community that we can help, because we started off not even going after what most insurance and financial advisors go after, which is the big money, right? We went after, and still do, we help the little guy, right? The mom and pop that's opened up or that is struggling, right? The contractor that's hurting for work, or the single mom, or whatever the case may be. The lower income, the middle to lower class is where we've been helping, and where we love. Honestly, I mean, the most humble people that I've ever met. And the fact of the matter, and I've had other advisors, and I know Jules has too, and so has Catherine, that have said, you're not going to make a lot of money for that. And let me explain something to you. I wouldn't trade the, 7,200 people on our book that make less than $50,000 a year as an annual household for 10 of any of their multi-million-dollar clients. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. You couldn't pay me enough to do it, because the fact is we're helping them, and we can see that we're helping them, and we're helping them on a way that we're setting them up for their next generation. And it's the same thing we want to do here in this space. The biggest thing, I think, the biggest caveat and differences from us, from that point to other financial advisors, is not only who we target, but, and this is just how we decided to do from our business model. We don't charge fees. Financial advisors, they charge these management fees. We don't charge fees, because we do everything from an insurance-backed position. We have these relationships with these carriers and these companies. They pay us. We don't take a dime from you. We don't do that. Absolutely, we never will. As long as one of us three is alive, SKG will never take a dime from our clients, from fees directly. No.
That's epic. What were you going to say, Jules?
I was just gonna, everything that Zach said, 1000% agree with, and how we all came to be. Me, I got into this very simply. I mean, obviously being a hairstylist and a colorist for so long, I was confronted with the fact that I needed a quadruple bypass immediately. And so when I was being rolled into the OR, I'm going through the list, cars paid for, houses paid for, money's there, that I'm going through everything as I'm riding it. And all of a sudden, life insurance came on, and I realized I didn't have any life insurance.
How long ago was this?
This was 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
And that's when they put the mask on me. So how terrifying that was to me, knowing that if I did not make it through this, that my family was. And so when I did come out of it, I realized I'm not going to be ignorant about this. I'm going to get learned. I'm going to go. And then from there, because I have an entrepreneurial spirit, I can do this. And I can yeah, absolutely. And so thus everything just, our company organically grew in the most perfect way. Okay. And Zach couldn't put it any better. I mean, we really have a great system here. He put together truly one of the very best I've ever seen. Okay. And we streamline everything. And it's a great privilege to serve our community. Mm-hmm. And me being a parent of autism, to sit there and look at a wife's face when she realizes that their son or daughter is going to be okay, and they almost start crying, is, he's right, as far as, what type of client you want. And when I was in New York, I refused to do celebrities because they require way too much attention, as opposed to the middle-class person that's just thankful to be in your chair.
And look,
it's the same thing. So we have the same, Zach and I are very parallel on everything when it comes to this. And I believe that we absolutely grew a fabulous company. You are going to absolutely help the autistic and the disabled community in many, many different ways. You know, we took on this project. We sat down collectively, the three of us. We discussed it a couple times, and decided, you know what, let's do it. What do we got to do? Let's reach out to the people we know. Let's start.
And it's important to have a servant-hearted leader. Like, I feel the same way, like I get to engage with these people and these families all the time. And just by giving them a safe space to just even, go bowling or have a meal.
Absolutely.
And then the way they, they are just like, you said they're humble and grateful, and, like it motivates you. You want to get up, and it's not about the money, which isn't necessarily the best thing for my checking account, and thus me needing financial advisement. But anyway,
you will notice that every time I meet somebody who is a parent of autism, I will always ask for their child's name.
Yeah.
I want to know the child's name that we're affecting, because that's really what it's all about.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. So what does SKG stand for?
Great question. So, Jules Scott, S, Catherine Kincaid, our second partner, K, Zach Garcia, G, SKG.
I'm like sitting here and I was like, you said Jules Frankel.
That is my name. Jules Scott is the name of my salon.
Okay. See,
I went by Jules Scott forever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so
I'm like,
when we formed this, he said, you know what? We just
looking at
name it
my
SKG.
It was funny too, because when I remember the day that we did it, we were sitting there after a wonderful, we had a great training that day with our agents, and we really didn't have a name. There was a name of the team, but for the agency we didn't have a name yet. And I said I got one. I said an epiphany hit, because I showed them the CRM that we were using, and an epiphany had hit me the day before. And I wrote it on a piece of paper, and I said, I got one for you guys. And they said, really, what is it? And I slid it over to them, and they went,
yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
I like it.
And it was just, it just came to, it was just a go for it, right?
That's
easiest thing to do it, because we didn't want to be insurance, because we knew we didn't want to just stop there.
right.
And we wanted overall financial wellness, for lack of a better term. And that comes in multiple facets. You got to protect right now, you got to protect your assets, and you got to protect your wealth, right? And that's really what that comes down to. So that's where we got it from. It was pretty funny how it actually happened.
It's funny because he did say we didn't want to be an insurance. We want to say insurance, all right? Because we did not want to be your father's automobile. Okay, we wanted to be something different, something alive, something that's going to make a big impact. So anyone can sit back.
A
and say,
large impact.
We're Joe Schmo Insurance Agency. Okay. Oh, okay. No. And everything, like I said, always just grew organically. Everything, and when that happens, it's perfection.
It's true. So, I guess just a couple of things as we're, moving towards closing. One is, you're located in South Carolina. Does that mean you are limited to only serving people in South Carolina?
That is a great question. We are actually right now available in 15 different states. And because you have to sit there, you have to understand that this company has only been around a little over, a year and 2 months?
Yeah.
14 months. This company's 14 months old. We just had our year checkup at the doctor, if you will. But we've gotten the okay from these companies to write in 15 different states, because we're direct to these carriers, right? We're direct to these companies. So we've earned that from, our different stints in the industry, as well as where we're at right now with our book and who we help. So we're in 15 different states. If we can't help someone in a state that we're not in, we have referrals and a referral network to multiple people that we trust that will help us cover most of the remaining 50. We do look to expand this year into a total of 30 states by the end of this year that we'll be in. But until then, if we can't, help somebody because they're in a different state, we definitely have someone that we can refer them to that either is licensed in that state or actually physically there in that state.
I used to be licensed in insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that administratively, that's no small feat, what you're trying to do. So, I commend you for that because of course, our people are here, there, and everywhere. And with the Autism Travel Club and card and app, our member families, are growing, like I said, here, there, and everywhere as we expand our markets and our offerings to them in their communities with, hospitality trained businesses or essential workers, whether they're first responders or educators, find people like you, coming together and making sure that, our families are understood by the people who are serving them, and the people that are serving them are genuine. We've had a number of times, what I realized was, I really thought that we could here in Surfside Beach and Myrtle Beach administrate the program, the program that I created all over the United States. Because everybody was learning remotely and everything like that. But what I learned was, you have to have boots on the ground. You have to meet the people, right? This is good. Zoom for this kind of type thing. But for like a restaurant or a resort, what I've learned is that restaurants specifically kind of reach out either when they first open and they see, this, they want to be part of the community, they want to serve, they jump on board, or a restaurant that is failing and they are going down swinging and they're like, we'll do anything for your people or free ice cream or whatever, where, I tell a story about this guy had an ice cream parlor in Myrtle Beach and he wanted to give free ice cream to everybody with autism. So my kids and I went down there. It was in a terrifying neighborhood, terrifying. And we walked into the ice cream store. Our feet are sticking to the floor. No one's there. Very strange. I go up finally find the guy in the back office. He's got a Coke nail out to here. And I was like, I know, right? Like the kids were, I was like, okay, well, thanks so much. And I left and I never went back. But that was like, we have to have boots on the ground. So we just launched our ambassador program just a couple of months ago because we've had these wonderful families come vacation here that have their own autism nonprofits, and they want to take this program to their community. So now we have this wonderful ambassador program, and if we can help you, in these other markets or whatever, like I'm hoping that there's some way. I'm actually thinking on the website, if you've looked at the locations page, it starts with a US map and you click on the state that you want to look at. So I think that, when you enroll, we have to make sure that you are listed if you want to be in the states that you're licensed to operate in, but that's up to you and we can talk about that later.
Yeah, sure.
I digress. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm talking, and that's what I do. And I know that we're kind of running short on time a little bit now. Was there anything else about, I don't know, you? Okay, let me just ask. Jules, favorite food. What's your favorite food?
I would probably have to say it is ahi tuna,
Oh, nice. Raw?
raw.
Gotta have it.
Seared, maybe.
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 Maybe. And then tell us your son's name.
His name is Maxwell Cooper Frankel.
And what's his favorite food?
Spaghetti.
With sauce?
But of course.
Okay. Well, I was just double checking because the white food thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just butter.
No,
And Zach? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Your favorite food?
My favorite food? Anything breakfast. Breakfast food in general is my favorite food. If I had to narrow it down to a specific order, all the way down to there, you can't beat a good T-bone steak with 2 fried eggs, hash browns, and Texas toast.
Ooh, boy, you are from Texas.
Yeah, I really like that. That's hard to beat. So now you've got the three littles running around.
That's right.
So like I guess, like I can't even imagine. How's your wife handling everything? Is she working
She
too? Can I be?
No, so my wife was when we first got married, um, we've been together for, let me see, 2011 till now makes this year 13 years. We've been married 6 years. This year makes 7. When we first got together, she
Applaud
was
you for knowing that stuff, by the way, because I don't remember any of that. So yeah, you sorry.
let me see, when we first got together, she was a OR tech.
Oh,
So she actually worked in the operating room on the robotics team at our local hospital. So she actually worked with the Da Vinci robot, doing robotics. Um, Wonderful at her job. She absolutely loved it. We got pregnant with our first, my baby girl, Miss Cara Marie, and she, of course, working as a 1099 at the time, very flexible hours, right? So I could stay home and work from home before working from home was cool. And I say it, we were pregnant in 2019, so COVID hit in 2020, and we were like, oh, this is wonderful. So, so
all
we,
hold up together.
oh, it was great.
Baby number
Um,
two.
so we did that, and then when we found out we were pregnant with our second, um, we decided that she was going to go extremely part-time PRN, and which was 1 day a week. And then we were like, okay, this is not really worth you going to work 1 day a week, you know. And then she became a stay-at-home mom, through right after we had my second child, my first son Rowan, and then we have our third son now, who is 7 months old, and that is Mr. Solomon James. So he is so funny. My two first kids are like myself, olive skin. I'm of Mexican heritage, so olive skin, dark hair, dark eyes. First two kids are, and my third child, Solomon, is
Milkman.
ginger.
Ginger. Oh, nice. Is your
He
wife?
is he is auburn hair, like auburn red hair, and pale skin and freckles.
Sweetness.
And it is the funniest thing in the world, because so my best friend is ginger, right? And they just had what's funny is they just had their first son, right? Their first child, who came out with black hair, dark skin,
Nice.
and so
Honestly, you got to stop swapping.
right. And so it's just so funny because this happened, and I said, you know what? What's happening is they're carrying on the legacy of Zach and Trent, because they are almost the exact same amount of time apart as far as birthdays that me and Trent are.
That's interesting.
Oh my God.
It's just so funny how it all played out. But yeah, my third son, or my third child, my second son is ginger, and my best friend's first son is dark hair and dark. Yep, it is just the funniest thing in the world. So
well, that's fun. That was a nice little segue, or not segue, but diversion. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So just, it's interesting because I was, scoping y'all out online, and I was typing in SKG Financial and forgot the dot financial, and so it didn't yet quite get there. So I want to let everybody know, if you want to check them out, it's SKG Financial, kind of like it's the Autism Travel Club. Let's all work together here, people. It's brilliant. And is there anything else before we sign off, Jules or Zach, that you want to share or say? I guess there is one thing that I want to share, is that we're going to have a webinar, for y'all, whoever's interested to, jump on and, ask questions and learn more, about, the services that they offer, and that these fine people with their servant leader hearts and really wanting to support us. God bless them, right? That's what we love. So thank you for making a large impact, and we're excited for you to make an even larger impact moving forward and helping our member families.
Oh, we're looking forward to it just the same. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
It's our pleasure and our privilege. Thank you.
Thank you.